here for the comment. We did not receive any via email. So I'm going to move on to the fourth item on our agenda, which is the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 25 operating budget and capital improvement plan. So I will now at this time, 7:01, open the public hearing. Do we have any public comment on the fiscal year 25 operating budget and capital improvement plan? I see none. So at this time, I would accept a motion to possibly, I don't want to influence anybody's motions, but maybe close the public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing.
All right. Chris Allen moves we close the public hearing. Any seconds? Oh boy. Ken seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and we have closed the public hearing. That might be at 7.
You're it, Lynn. I mean, you
We'll call it 7:02. Yeah. All right. Next item on the agenda, excuse me, is a vote on the fiscal year 25 operating budget and capital improvement plan. So we have held a number of hearings and met with a number of folks from the town manager, the finance director, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, numerous other people. And I think we have poked and prodded this operating budget and capital improvement plan pretty well. I don't know, does anybody disagree with that or have any additional questions, comments, concerns?
Did we ever address the questions that we had with the school department?
Yes.
I know
Yes.
there's a couple outstanding questions.
Yes, we did. And actually, Lynn was the one that helped us with that. If you have any specific questions, I would recommend you might direct a couple at her. But what she did was provide to us the what the shared services were at our last meeting, and specifically what was, shared between the school and the town, and the dollar amount in question in the school budget was not what was voted on at the school committee. It was the accurate budget, which reflects those parts that had been taken out.
Okay.
So, and it was like $1.5 million, close thereabouts, maybe a little bit more than that, that's in shared. And so my really big concern was because it was confusing, and we really didn't get it, and that what had been presented was a budget that had things in it that it didn't, and that's not true. That was not true.
So after further explanation, you felt
Yes,
comfortable?
and by the way, if you go on to ClearGov, it's cleargov.com, right? You can go and you can see the school budget, and you can see the pieces that are removed. It's pretty clear. And Lynn actually handed out a sheet that had it delineated, that particular portion that we had questions of, and it should be in
Yep.
the packet. So you should be able to find it with all the Google Docs that come with the
Okay.
with the school stuff. You should be able to look at it, and if you need it, I can send it to you.
Okay.
Okay, because I have it.
Yeah, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
That's all right. That's it.
I was just going to say, I think at the end of the day, the school superintendent, assistant superintendent used an older version of the budget that had
Which didn't reflect.
That's
the
correct.
shared service changes.
Yep.
So once we nailed that down and understood where the shared services came about, so that Melissa had come in and Lynn had come in to explain to us, it all made sense.
Yeah, and there's nothing that we have to change or nothing that's it's not broken, it's not wrong, it's just.
I guess my purpose was just to make sure that,
Yes.
that you guys had, the questions had been addressed satisfactorily, and you were
100%.
comfortable with it.
Yep.
The only other feedback that I had, and it doesn't need to be part of the larger discussion, but I know that they had mentioned, or part of the reason why we went to shared services were to take advantage of economies of scale. And I know anecdotally that we felt as though there were some savings that were achieved through that, but if my memory serves me correctly, the superintendent said they would get back to us on whether or not there were savings as a result of having shared services.
So I think it was actually Melissa who said she would get back to us on that.
It was in the last meeting. I don't think you were.
Was it? Okay. Oh, okay. So I did ask the superintendent when they were here too, but it
Oh,
also,
you did? Okay.
I did. Yes.
My apologies.
No worries.
I think at that time, they were still working off that older budget. So I think what Melissa is going to get to us will be inclusive of all of what you're asking for.
Okay.
We don't have, we don't have it today.
Yeah. Which is fine. I just want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the fact that
Agreed.
part of the benefits of doing that, aside from the efficiencies from an operational standpoint, as I mentioned, in state government, there's no real incentive to push to find savings.
Mhm.
The money's going to be there, right? It's
Right.
just not how state government is necessarily built. So that's why I just want to make sure that we are following through with what can be a potential benefit from
Yeah.
having these shared services and general economies of scale. So I just want to make sure that we're staying on top of them and having that market discussion. with them.
You're right, and what I heard you say with my state government brain was that you wanted to spearhead a task force to.
I'm not
Just
sure
kidding,
that I've heard
just
that.
kidding. That's what I heard. No, I think all your points are bang on, and we do need to stay on top of it. And I will circle back with our esteemed finance director and town manager to make sure that stays on
Fair
track.
enough. Fair enough.
I think that
Thank you.
she also did mention that there was some of the things that were newer, it was hard to say whether there would be savings, like the cost of fuel, things like that. It was like, not sure, but.
Volatility of the market would
Yes.
impact that in
Um,
year one,
And that the benefits might be simply the efficiency of it,
Okay.
rather than an actual overall cost savings like you might get for, if you bundled contracts, you might get a savings on that. But for some of these things, remains to be seen.
So I understand the volatility and fluctuating prices. Are we going to just one service provider for gasoline?
That'd be more question for Lynn.
We do.
Yeah.
So typically so if I purchase asphalt in my business, historically, if I purchased X amount of asphalt, based on that, if I then say to them, I will solely purchase asphalt through you, my unit price drops as long as I achieve those different milestones. So I would assume that those same potential savings can be achieved with a sole gas company. If we are saying that, hey, if we will service all of our vehicles through you, your advertised or your retail price per gallon is X, we would like to achieve Y based on the amount of business that we send.
So hold on one second. Lynn, could you come forward? Thank you. That way, let's just make this a little more official. We're going to bring our esteemed town finance director to the stand, to the table, to the table. So thanks, Lynn.
So the difference, Keith, is in municipal government, we have to follow Chapter 30B
Yes,
and
yep.
contracts and go out to bid and things like that. So that process alone will get us to our lowest price,
Okay.
which is why municipal government has that in place.
So the lowest responsive bid is what you want to-
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, unless we can justify why we're not going to go with that because we've had issues with them. But
Makes
typically,
sense.
we'd go with the lowest
Okay,
bidder.
so
Yep.
built into your procurement process
Is already-
is the lowest responsive bid, which should get you to.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep,
understood.
Yep, and it's required.
Thank you, Lynn.
You're
Good.
welcome.
But if you want to just stay one sec, just in case anybody else has, you could.
I'm gonna wait till she sits back down again. to ask me.
That's okay, I need the exercise back and forth.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You're good.
No
Thank you.
problem, Keith. Anybody else?
Lynn, I believe that chapter 3, fuel is exempt.
Yeah.
Part of that in chapter 3. I just know because I'm going for my certification, so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, chapter 30 or chapter 3?
Chapter 30B.
30B, okay.
It's
And
the
But
so
procurement.
gas is exempt
And
from.
there's a few things like fossil fuels.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go to the lowest bidder, you're saying?
No,
Oh,
it's
that's
exempt.
interesting.
Right, but we would,
Yeah, you
based
would
on
look,
our
you would do
policies
your.
and procedures in
yeah.
the procurement,
Yeah,
we
you
would
would
follow
do. Mhm.
and go out, for bid and things like that. Yep,
Perfect. All right, thank you, Lynn.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the feedback on chapter 3.
Yeah, no worries. That's what we're here for.
It's 149 pages.
This is exactly why we do this.
Right.
So, okay. Well, then, I would, so look, now we have to give a recommendation. We have to vote on a recommendation for town meeting, what the finance committee would either recommend favorable action, I'm just going through examples, I'm not doing, or unfavorable action on the fiscal year 25 operating budget and capital improvement plan at town meeting. So, having given you a couple examples of options for a motion, I would now open the floor for a motion should someone wish to make it on the fiscal year 25 operating budget and capital improvement plan.
I'll give it a shot. All right. I move approval on the presented budget for FY25 operating budget and capital improvement plan.
Can I just, a favorable action?
Favorable.
Yeah, favorable action, right, okay. Okay, do we have a second? Dustin, quick the hand there, you beat Ken. Okay, so we have a motion to report favorable action on the fiscal year 25 operating budget and capital improvement plan. We have a second. So all of those in favor of reporting out favorable action on these, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, so the ayes have it, and that motion passes. So we will we'll have a favorable. We'll recommend favorable action on that piece at town meeting. So that is the bulk of our work. So thank you, everyone. Good job. Next, we have a discussion on the warrant letter. So I guess we're just sort of keeping this on the agenda just to make sure everybody's on track and having any, if there's any problems, concerns, comments, make sure everybody's doing their homework. This was my least favorite part of school, so it's my least favorite part of Taskmaster as well. Everybody getting along okay on the sections? Everybody know their sections?
We have our hero right here. Hold on,
Yeah.
his hand is in.
You're the only
Yeah, oh.
What's that?
We were asking the last meeting, like, what date should we shoot for?
And Keith had already seconded.
He's
Yeah.
already
It's
in.
rare for me to be ahead of
Yeah.
the curve, so I was a
Whoa.
little
Yeah,
bit.
that is a whoa.
Well done.
Yeah.
So I think the date, if I'm not mistaken, is like April 12th. Yeah,
Let's go with that.
I'd like to move it.
that is into Chris.
Yes.
Yes.
Send it to me, and I.
But me and or Chris.
Well, let's put it that way. Actually, before that, if it's due to
Yeah.
Lori on the 12th or the 13th, you all have to have it to me, let's say, can we try the 10th? I mean, that gives you, yeah.
So it's a Wednesday.
That
Yeah.
at least gives me a couple of days to get it done.
Perfect.
And the only other one thing that, when we were hearing the presentation from the CPA, CPC, is that Regina had suggested this, and I'm with her. Remember, I had talked about whether we should do, some sort of a missive in there about, with their recommendations, and everything looks fine. The only thing that's perhaps a detail we wanted to present, and I don't want to write this, is an explanation of the bond for the Recplex. Because that's a little bit more than most people would
Yeah,
understand.
I think that's a great idea. I think we should.
Do you have the chops? It would just be a few sentences. This is what this means.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
I can do that. I will volunteer for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually even just listen to any of their meetings, you get the explanation there. But it's just like, how long it's for, and, why would you do it that way as opposed to another way, I think that the big thrust of it, if I am understanding this right, is that in case we no longer use CPA money, this will still be funded. I mean,
Right.
not like that wouldn't happen, but you never know 5-10 years down the road, and this would continue to be funded regardless, because it would be under bond.
Yep.
So anyway,
That's a very good explanation. Number one,
Well,
and number two,
part of it.
I'm happy to take that on.
Okay.
So I think that's a good idea, and unless anybody disagrees, I mean, I think that is a
Yeah.
little bit of a
it's an anomaly.
change.
Yes, it is. It's
in the
different
way they
for
do
them.
business.
Yeah, that was John Simons. I heard him. He had recommended that at one of their meetings, and I was like, well, that's a really interesting idea. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
'Cause it's not usual that you have them funding something over a period of years.
Yep.
That doesn't usually happen,
Yeah.
or at least over a
Well,
long period of years.
over a long period.
Long period of
yeah.
years. I mean, yeah, maybe a couple, or they might think, oh, like this is a 3 or 5 year project, but we're not usually asking. They're not usually putting out all of that money up front.
Not at that amount.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
So,
Much smaller
and
amounts.
it's a lot of money. So anyway.
Yeah. No, agreed. I think that's a great idea.
And
So
a worthy project.
I will happily take on that explanation.
Cool.
And I think the next meeting will be the meeting we vote on recommendations for CPC, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So everybody should keep that in mind. All right, so everybody feels good with the warrant. Everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody's, still working on it except for Keith. Okay, excellent. It's excellent work, Keith.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, well then, the next item on our agenda is the approval of open session minutes from March 11th, 2024. They were in your packet.
There is one big mistake in there.
Okay, Chris Allen has, yes, what is it?
It's on the last paragraph, and it says, Ms. Allen asked if there were any more conversations about the $7 million that the CPAC was asking for their program, and I don't think it was. It's CPAC. We were talking CPAC. Oh, she just abbreviated wrong. Anyway, we're talking the special ed, the CPAC parents, which is SE, it's PAC,
Yeah.
and it's 7,000, not 7 million.
Ah, I see it now. Okay, yep. Dr. Gill and Dr. Mealy
And it
spoke about the
shouldn't be
importance.
CPAC, it should be SEP.
SEPAC.
Yes,
It's 1,000 times improvement.
yes. Well,
Yeah,
no,
wow.
I read that and I just laughed. Like, cool.
All right, then, so you're making a motion to amend the minutes to reflect that that is 7,000?
Yes, and it should be special education
Yeah. Parents Advisory Council.
advisory council, yes.
SEP.
Okay. All right, so anybody have any objections to that? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so that is amended, and now I'd take a motion for acceptance of the edited, amended minutes.
I move we approve the meeting minutes of March 11, 2024 as amended.
Great.
Second.
Second over here by Eva, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I don't remember which two meetings
Yeah,
it is.
I wasn't here for that one either.
So Dustin Silk, Ken Gray, Eva Pastor were not present at that meeting. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that leaves us with not a quorum to, what? Right, exactly, yeah.
Okay, well,
So-
keep the amendment in there and, you know,
We'll make sure that gets amended
yeah.
for the next meeting. All right. Good heads up there, Ken. That was good. All right. Well, then, we don't have anything else on the agenda, so I would just double check, make sure everybody's good. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Next meeting is next Wednesday, right? The 3rd, April 3rd.
I think so.
And then the next Wednesday, you have to vote on the warrant articles.
Yes, and the CPC, so all the warrant articles, right, exactly. Yep.
So you're gonna have that list of warrant articles in front of us?
Yeah,
Yeah. He says, yeah, yeah, of course I will. Chris.
we'll make sure.
We'll get them to you.
We'll make sure.
Just don't make me think. It's like-
No, we'll have them for you before the meeting, obviously, so. Okay.
Okay,
All right, everybody, then I will take a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Eva Pastor makes a motion to adjourn, seconded by
Second.
Dustin Silk. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It is 7:18, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
All that fuss about.